you see me and hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you actually.
Ma'am, now is it okay?
Sorry?
Now is it okay?
Yes. Can you see me
Okay,
and
okay.
hear me clearly?
Yes.
Awesome. So let's begin our session for today. Sit comfortably, keep your back and neck straight. Very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of breathing. Slowly shift the attention to the body. Check your posture. Slowly come back to the breath and begin to deepen your breathing. Slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. After your next inhalation, we'll incorporate the practice of internal retention. After the inhalation, hold the breath in for about 2 seconds and then go into the process of exhaling. We'll open today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om. 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 Shanti. 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 Observe the vibrations. Join your palms together. Begin to rub your palms together. Keep the palms on the eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes and come back with a big smile. Namaste to everyone. Let us begin today's session. So yesterday we have completed 2 schools of yoga. One is Karma Yoga and second is Bhakti Yoga. So both of these practices are very easily incorporated in our lives. We can take out some time for prayer, right? And also we can change the quality of our actions. Whatever we do, we don't have to get away or go in isolation. We can merely change the way in which we are performing the actions, and very easily the life that you are living right now, you can change and transform that same life, right? Now we come to the next 2 schools of yoga. Today we are going to begin with the school of Raj Yoga, right? So, Gyan Yoga. First we will cover Gyan Yoga. So today we are going to cover Gyan Yoga, and Gyan Yoga is actually a path which is, again, it's not for a common person. Okay, this path, generally Gyan Yogis are born. They are not it's very hard to practice Gyan Yoga actually. So Gyan Yogis are generally, you will see, they are born instead of, um, practicing or going through the practices of Gyan Yoga, because even we can start the practices of Gyan Yoga, there is no harm, right? We can also go into those practices, but the problem that comes up is that the, will or the practice is not too strong, so people end up leaving Gyan Yoga. So of course you can, begin on the path. I'm not discouraging you to not start on the path only, but it's very difficult to stick to the practices. Like in Bhakti Yoga, it's very easy to stick to the practice. In Karma Yoga, it is quite easy to incorporate the qualities in the action. But Gyan Yogi, they come across very, very harsh truths of life, right? And when this thing happens, you have to have a very, very strong will in order to stay on the path. Otherwise, you will end up leaving the path, right? So first, let's go like write the name of the topic only. Then I'll explain more deeply. Jnana Yoga. This is the path of knowledge. If you open Bhagavad Gita, you will find the mention in chapter 4. This chapter elaborates on the path of Gyan Yoga. So after Krishna, he tells Arjun about the path of Karma Yoga. He also elaborates on the path of knowledge. And knowledge over here is used not merely as knowledge. It's not like you read a book and you are understanding it and you are done. No, the knowledge over here actually is you acquiring that piece of information, and you having the experience also of it, right? Now I keep telling you, everything is impermanent, everything is impermanent, right? But when you actually sit in meditation, you see that how, quickly your breathing is changing, like your thoughts are changing. So you experience the impermanence, right? So one thing is that that is why in the beginning only I told you, philosophy classes will give you like more of an insight into what you can expect out of meditation. But all the things we are discussing over here, the practicality, it will come up in meditation mode, right? So I keep telling you this thing, okay, you keep believing, okay, she is saying this thing. But when you actually sit in meditation and you experience your own breath and the kind of frequency at which it is changing constantly, you come in touch with reality, right? Then you come in touch with, okay, this thing is happening, right? So the Gyan Yogi will not only acquire the information, there is this intuitive or direct experience which Gyan Yoga focuses on. So most people, they think, okay, reading books, if you don't like reading books, Gyan Yoga is not for you. So it's not just about acquiring the information. My own experience will become a guidance for my life. Okay, your experience will become a guidance for your life. Depending on our own experiences, we make certain choices in life, right? This is Gyan Yoga showing up in our lives, right? When you have a bad experience with something, you don't go ahead and again take that decision. Right now, I keep telling you, don't touch the fire, don't touch the fire. You keep telling the child, don't touch the fire. But when the kid actually goes and touches the fire, the kid experiences this thing that, oh, this is going to hurt me. So next time you will not have to tell the kid, right? Next time I will not have to tell you. You have experienced that thing. Now, this knowledge doesn't just remain the surface level knowledge. Now you have experienced it. I keep telling you, very famous example of this thing. I keep telling you, kheer. It's a sweet dish that we make over here. I keep telling you, it's white in color. We add sugar, we add rice. This is how it tastes. So I will tell you all about the taste, right? But when you actually eat it, then nobody can fool you. Then nobody can serve you anything else which looks alike and say that this is kheer. Now you know this is the taste of kheer. So next time you will know, okay, this is where, ये थोड़ा कम रह गया, अच्छे से बॉईल नहीं करा, चावल अच्छे से बॉईल नहीं हुए, इस तरह से खीर नहीं बनती. So now you know the specifications, right? So Gyan Yogi knows the specifications, and the knowledge goes like it's balanced by the experience. Okay, so it's not just the knowledge that they are acquiring. Of course, they are very curious, and the higher level of the mind functions for a Gyan Yogi, right? So Bhakt, it's okay. Bhakt can begin with lower level of mind, right? Same Karma Yogi also can. But from Gyan Yoga, the higher perception of the mind, it's very strong for that person. The person will constantly question, who am I? Why am I here? So because basic needs are being fulfilled, so the higher mind gets some space to function over there, right? So then the Gyan Yogi, goes very deeply, says, okay, I will go, I will explore why is this suffering over there. Let me go and understand this thing. Ye hai kya? Right? And this is the opportunity given by nature. When you guys suffer, when you go through a very tough time in your life, you will see some people around you, they will look for temporary solutions. They will go, they will watch Netflix, or they will go and party, right? But it is the nature, giving you a push to go and explore the permanent solution, to be free from all of your suffering, right? If we don't suffer, we will never, explore these other things, right? So nature knows this thing very well. So it's the nature's way of providing you with an opportunity that go find the answers, go think, why did this thing happen? Reflect upon this thing, and then see what best solution you can come up with when you are experiencing this thing again and again and again and again. So Gyan Yogi is actually able to see this, cycle going on, the repetitive pattern. Okay, I have a desire, then I work towards it, then I acquire that thing, then again I enjoy that thing, and again I am led to this point where I have another desire. Then the same circle goes on and on and on, right? And we spend our entire lives doing this thing. So Gyan Yogi is able to see this thing very clearly. Even Siddharth Gautam, he has very greatly and very precisely put this thing that you should not believe anything which you have not experienced. So I keep telling you, in meditation you will see a light or you will hear a sound, right? But you haven't heard it. So whatever I'm saying, it will not be true for you. Only your experience becomes true for you. And this is the, you know, kind of approach the Gyan Yogi has. जो मेरा experience हुआ वही मेरे लिए सच है, और कुछ भी नहीं. कोई कोई कुछ भी कहे, कोई कुछ भी बोले कि ये चीज गलत है, ये चीज सही है. If I haven't experienced that thing cannot be right or wrong for me. When I experience it, then I will, make a conclusion out of it कि वो अच्छा है कि वो बुरा है. This thing. This is the path on which the Gyan Yogi walks. Right? Now, according to the school of Gyan Yoga, the main reason for suffering is ignorance. Okay. So the suffering is caused due to the ignorance in the human being. It's called avidya. A-V-I-D-Y. Right? And the only way in which the Gyan Yogi understands this kind of suffering can be eradicated is through discrimination or vivek. Right? The more discrimination I develop, the more my suffering will begin to get eradicated. VIVEK. Discrimination. This ability in the human being to actually experience the thing and take out a conclusion. Okay, this is permanent, this is not permanent, this is real, this is unreal. Right? That is why the questions that are asked by the Gyan Yogi, they are not that easy in nature. Right? Because they are trying to tackle the mind through the functioning of the mind, right? So this cognition and this reasoning that we are giving consistently to ourselves. So for a beginner level of Gyan Yogi, they will read up a lot. Okay, they will read the for especially on the path of yoga, if they are going on this path, they will read the Ved and the Upanishads. They are the base. They form the base of the philosophy that we are learning about. So they go ahead and they deepen their understanding of these things. So they initially surface level Gyan Yogi will, if you have a conversation with them, they will, have the perfect answers, right? Because they have, read so much, they have gone through so much information, right? But this is where the Gyan Yogi also gets stuck sometimes. Okay, so you will see a lot of people, fighting, debating, arguing, right? So you have to proceed this path with a lot of care also. Right now, I read up so much. So in today's society, this is what is happening. People are so well read, but they are stupid, right? They are so stupid. Basic things. PhD, a person who has PhD throwing garbage on the road, right? So what is this? What is happening? What did your education do for you, right? So I'm not talking about pade likhe gawar, right? This is the term we use, pade likhe gawar. Most of the people around you, they will read so many books. They will, go on, give you lectures. Like right now, I am telling you these things, right? So you will find multiple people who will give you gyan jo log dete hain, right? In your situation they will come and they will give you, okay, this is the correct thing to do, right? But khud kya implement kar rahe ho? This knowledge is for you. How am I able to be more in sync with nature, right? How am I able to create more harmony in my life? The point of the education that you acquire is to lead a better life, right? Not just financially. This peace and calmness of mind, that is the knowledge which when you acquire and you implement, it will change your life, it will turn your life around. Rest of the education, so the education system, everything, it's preparing you for financial stability, but how to lead the life, right? That is the target of the ज्ञान योगी. मैं अपनी लाइफ कितनी माइंडफुलनेस के साथ जी रहा हूँ या जी रही हूँ, right? How aware am I what contribution I am making and what kind of destruction I am causing? This is what the Gyan Yogi is deeply connected with, right? So if you read about Swami Vivekananda's life, so he was a Gyan Yogi, right? Each and every action, the way in which he acted, the way in which he led his life, it showed, that he was a very strong practitioner of the school of yoga, right? And the way in which, he propagated also, right? These things show. You will not have to say anything. Your actions, your way of conduction will reflect that you guys are doing yoga, right? So same way for the Gyan Yogi, acquiring information, beginner level, yes, it's very important. But eventually, as you begin to deepen the practices, it will show up on your way of conduction, right? And Gyan Yogi specifically gives experience a lot of weightage, right? So now, when we talk of Gyan Yoga, there are some practices that are specifically set for Gyan Yoga. Like yesterday, I told you for Bhakti Yoga, kirtans and kathas, all of these things, chanting of mantras, these are practices of Bhakti Yoga, right? But there are some different set of practices for Gyan Yogis. So they are called the base level. So, the stronger your foundation is, the better whatever is built up on it, the better stability that thing will have, right? So first, the Gyan Yogi goes through the foundational practices or the base level practices, right? So these are called sadhana chatushte. Okay, sadhana, 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 chatushte, chatushtaye. Sadhana chatushte. These are the 4 practices which are basically forming the foundation for the Gyan Yogi, right? They are constantly, giving so willpower and this ability to absorb the truth, right? This will increase as you deepen your practices for these 4 things, right? And Gyan Yogi has to be able to absorb the, truth. Right now, I tell you, like even Buddha, he said that, if there is birth, there is going to be death, right? So Gyan Yogi contemplates on the idea of death, you know, reads up more about this condition of life, we lead our lives trying to ignore this truth, right? We want to keep it at bay, we want to keep it away, but it is going to happen sooner or later, right? For everything, not just for human beings, right? For animals, for plants, right? So Gyan Yogi is able to digest this thing. We are not. In our homes, we don't sit and have conversations about these things, right? If I even talk of my own home, so we never discuss, what will happen, right? If I think of people who are close to me going away, I'm not able to talk about it, right? Most of us aren't. So we are not ready for the path of Gyan. Means this is what it translates to, because this is the ultimate reality of our lives, right? But we are unable to discuss these things. So in very little and very small percentage of houses only these conversations are brought up again and again, and बात होती है, right? But not in most places, right? So Gyan Yogi consistently, has this thing on their mind, right? That okay, this is a truth. So first thing of sadhana chatushtay, the four foundational practices. The first one is vivek itself, right? Vivek or discrimination. Okay, so Gyan Yogi, initially only, they begin to sharpen their weapons. Okay, what is their weapon? Their mind. They are beginning to sharpen their mind already, right? By development of the discrimination, right? Now they are going into deeper questioning. Okay, now like for you guys, right? So I told you everything is impermanent, right? Then you do some meditation, you understand this thing. So next time what will happen? Next time you get angry, or maybe it would have already started happening because you are doing yoga so rigorously and most of the month has gone by, right? So now next time something that was initially triggering you a lot, now you are not triggered that easily, right? Because for one entire month you are going through such rigorous practices, be it in theoretical terms, be it in the practical terms. You are again and again putting yourself through that process, right? So now slowly you will not recognize this thing, okay, but slowly your discrimination is developing. Now next time you get angry, at least there would be some awareness, गुस्सा आ रहा है, or you will become aware, oh अब गुस्सा आना start हो गया, it has started to okay, my heartbeat it's increasing, right? You feel more because you're connected to yourselves more. You start to feel the little changes that happen because of anger. So you understand this thing, you are hurting yourself when you get angry first, right? So first person who gets hurt when you get angry or you get jealous, it is you. And when you deepen your practices, you begin to see that okay, this thing is showing up on my body, and then you validate that statement, right? That you are the first person who gets harmed, right? So what is happening? This is your discrimination that is developed, right? The next time, maybe for 9.5 minutes, you will get angry. Earlier, you got angry for 10 full minutes, right? But now you will become more aware, more conscious, and even slowly as you go deeper into your practices, this time will also begin to reduce. It will show up in some form or the other, right? So this is your discrimination developing, which leads you directly to the second step, right? Which is Vairagya or detachment. Okay, this happens naturally. When I know that one of my emotions it's impermanent, right? Then naturally after a point of time I will feel that what is the point, right? I come to this conclusion, what is the point? निकाल कर भी क्या फायदा, गुस्सा निकाल कर क्या फायदा है, या why is this, because you keep practicing, so the generation of the emotion also lessens, right? It goes down, right? So by default of your practice, you come to the place of detachment, right? When you are getting angry for only 9.5 minutes now, right? Earlier it was 10 minutes. So what are these 30 seconds? These 30 seconds are your detachment which is developing. because your discrimination increased, right? Now you are aware, okay, this is the thing, right? And slowly you will see the changes also happen on their own. There is no force in you, okay? There is a consistent effort, but you do not force the detachment. Right now, I keep telling you, okay, this physical world, anyway, we are not going to gain anything out of it. Don't set any goals, right? Or don't be too attached, right? Now you listen to me, you are like, okay, she makes sense, whatever philosophy she has given us, uske hisab se, this makes perfect sense. I should not get attached to my physical world, right? But what is happening? Because it is not on your experience, you will end up, you cannot force yourself कि अब मैं attachment नहीं करूंगा या नहीं करूंगी. Now I will not get attached because I have been told that I should not get attached, right? It doesn't work like that. If it worked like that, most of the world would be pretty sorted today, right? But we are not, because we lack the experience. We are overloaded with the information and we are causing an imbalance, right? So now I know so much, right? But I have no experience. So I keep questioning. So many questions come up. What is Kundalini? What is this Kundalini power? What are chakras? Because so many books are out there. So you can read about it. Okay, this color is associated with this chakra, right? So you believe, okay, this would be the color, this would be the shape, this is the sound that is associated. Okay, so much information about chakras there, right? But you cannot validate it. Why? Because you have not given the depth of the experience which should support that information. And this imbalance is, what causes people to get lost on this path, right? If I know so much, then again and again my mind will come in. It will tell me, oh, you are sitting for meditation, you should experience peace and calmness. So after your session, when you are even more, agitated or irritated, then you are just saying, today, meditation, no, 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 right? Because consistently your mind is getting focused, and then the mind creates kind of hallucination also to fool you. If somebody tells you that when you sit in meditation you will see this god, you will believe it so deeply that you will actually, your mind will create that hallucination. So you lose touch with reality, right? And the entire point of yoga is that you come more in touch with this reality. You come more in harmony. When you become aware of this reality of life, you begin to harmonize yourself. You begin to, flow with however nature is flowing, right? There is no pain or suffering that is caused. But if you lose touch with your reality, if you keep going back in imagination, you will again completely go away. So this detachment comes in because you become aware of not your reality or my reality. You start becoming aware of the universal reality. It will not change. If I am sitting and meditating over here and you are sitting and meditating in some other continent, you will be aware of some universal truths, right? So Gyan Yogi shifts the focus and comes more in alignment with not a specific kind of truth, that this person, okay, this is the right thing for that person. No, universally change is happening at each and every second. There is something that is changing inside you, right? You come in contact with this thing and it changes the way in which you live your life, right? And nobody can force this change on you, and nor can you force this change on anyone, right? So the path is made such that if you walk on it, right, you will come in contact with certain realities, right? But the Gyan Yogi is ready, okay? Gyan Yogi is of higher level. Mind and body is already prepared to absorb these truths, okay? Then as both of them, start, they support each other. The detachment, when it increases, then again The discrimination, it will give more space to discrimination, right? Then you will be able to come more in touch with the truths. Then again, detachment will take place, right? So this process goes in a loop. Then the third foundational practice is the Shat Sampat. You know, 6 virtues. SHAT, Shat Sampat, SAMPAT, Shat Sampat or 6 virtues. So this is our third, foundational practice in which we have 6 further practices. Okay. So after you work on this discrimination and detachment, both of them happening, then you also develop certain virtues within, or you put one drop, like you can say you have 6 spots, right? So now whatever you do, you will, because you will change the way in which you are doing it in order to, deepen your virtues, you will say that you can add one drop each. Every time you go into the practice of Gyan Yoga, you can add one drop in each of the pots, right? And these virtues will help you again to stick to the practice so that the harsh realities, you are the Gyan Yogi is able to absorb them, right? So first one is called Sama. We'll write down all 6 of them, then I'll explain them to you. Bhakti Pratiksha. Okay, so Sama, Dama, Uparti. So Sama, SAMA, this is controlling the mind. Then Dama, second one comes in, which is DAMA, controlling the senses. Okay. Then after that, the third one is Uparti, UPARTI, Uparti. So withdrawal of senses, right? Then fourth one is so next three are Titiksha, TITIKCHA, Titiksha or tolerance. Then comes in Shraddha, SHRADDHA, Shraddha or faith. Last one is Samadhan, SAMADHAN. One pointedness, samadhan. All the 6 virtues that the Gyan Yogi, step by step, they develop all of them. So, for the Gyan Yogi, the control of the mind, it comes easily, right? Because they are already, they're changing their environment completely, right? So when I have the chance to do something else in that time, but I choose to read and not read any kind of books. I read the books which are very much in touch with the ultimate realities or the ultimate truth, right? Then by default, there is some control that I am exercising over the mind, right? Most people you will come across, they will not make the time, they will not make the effort to even do this thing, right? So the Gyan Yogi begins by the control of the mind, right? Because there is this great understanding, or great not being the right word, deeper understanding that the everything is beginning from the thought, right? So we have discussed this before also, that thought is what translates into speech and action, right? So they begin to control the mind, right? Now change the environment you are exposing yourself to, right? Or you can also say that they, begin to give the mind an overall, like, they create a boundary, right? इससे बाहर नहीं step करना, right? So very slowly and with a lot of, deep level of understanding, they create this thing, right? Which helps them to develop their first virtue, right? Which is the control of the mind. This is a virtue, right? Most of us, we have no control over the mind, right? It runs in all the direction it wants to go and explore. And if you actually closely observe your mind, there is no sense that your thoughts will make. At one point of time, you're thinking of something, and then suddenly your mind will jump and go to the other thing, right? There is no connection also between both the things, right? So internally, we are all like rolling in that crazy, or monkey mind. The mind is jumping from one tree to another, right? One thought to another. Doesn't make any sense, doesn't make any, there's no logic that you can put, right? Then when the control of the mind begins to come in, then the control over the senses also begin to come, right? Now I am tuning my mind, okay, I have to wake up every day at 4 a.m. or I have to wake up every day at 6 a.m., right? So first I gain control over the mind. This thought comes up that, okay, waking up in the morning, it's good for me, right? So the discipline is enforced from the mind, and then your senses follow, right? Then when your alarm goes off, or if you give your mind that level of training, your mind will become the alarm, right? It will wake you up, right? Then your senses begin to follow that thing. If I do not read about or get to know about something, or that thought doesn't come up, it will never translate into my actions, or my senses will never, pay heed to that thing, right? So because you guys, you trained your mind that, okay, maybe I will find something when I do you, that is why you joined the classes, you looked for courses, you joined the classes, and then now you are here. And now whatever time you devote to these classes, at least you are not doing any other destructive thing for somebody else or for yourself in that time, right? So then the control over the senses, it comes very easily. It is because our minds are not trained, we try to control the sense first. So we say, acha, if you want to change the diet, what I will do, I will stop eating this food, or I will stop, ordering this food, right? So we are going the opposite way, right? You're trying to control the senses, and then when you are at your lowest, or when your mind becomes very, very vulnerable, you give into your cravings, right? Why? Because you never trained your mind. You were trying to train the senses. right? So you were taking the other approach. Gyan Yogi takes the opposite approach. They understand that the mind has more power, right? If they train the mind, then the senses will automatically come in control. There is no effort. If I have set my mind that, okay, for 1 year, I'm going to do yoga, right? Then I have set my mind. Now, no matter how cold it is, or if the summers are too extreme, how hot it is, I will wake up at the same time, do yoga, right? So try to reverse your train now rather than trying to, cut off the sense objects immediately, or if you feel they're not good for you, you take this extreme seclusion. Try to gain more control over the mind. It will help you. Even if that object is in front of you, you will be able to take a step back, right? कभी कभी ऐसा होता है ना, we are on our very high willpower mode, so your favorite food comes in, everybody on the table is eating that, but you choose not to eat it, right? Because now you have given the mind that thing. अब आपके सामने भी आ गया तो आप खींचोगे नहीं उस चीज के towards, right? So ज्ञान योगी, that is why this kind of chronology has been given even to the 6 virtues, right? So the remaining of them we will discuss tomorrow. Any doubts in today's session? Anything that I can clear for you? Okay, great. So today's task for you guys is to reflect, how you have been living your life. Because Gyan Yogi, they're very introspective in nature. So you can reflect in any form. You can either choose to write about your day, or you can choose to, some people they prefer to draw, or whatever way of reflection that you feel is the best one for you. You guys can go ahead, but reflect on the quality of your day, how you are acting, right? Or maybe you can pick up one incident and how you are acting on that incident. It will help you to become more aware of the pattern that your mind has formed towards a particular thing, right? So today we are going to take out some time to reflect. All right, so let's close our session for today. Yeah, any doubts?
No, no doubts. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, great. So we'll close our class for today. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. We'll chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Feel the vibrations. Join the palms together in front of the chest and gently bow down. We will begin our day with a sense of gratitude. Begin to rub your palms together. Take the palms on the eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes. Come back with a big smile. Namaste to everyone. I will see all of you for your pranayam class in the afternoon. Take care, guys, and bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.